G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We're a little bit late into this one. Apologies. Vortex has spawned in as the Holy Roman Empire. He's got his prelate out. He's getting up those villagers. But he's inspiring them up. And his opponent, who is spawned on the opposite side of the map, Lidakor, tell us who's playing on the red color.
The red color is going to be taken by the Muslim right now. He's pulling his Chinese here on Hillendale. This is game number 5. In a best of 7 in between these two players of the Steel Series $20,000 Prime Cup Grand Finals. The Muslim loves to play this map, and he has used a mixture of Chinese and Holy Roman Empire in previous sets that he played. But I don't think that he ever played in this tournament with Chinese against Holy Roman Empire. It was either him using HRE against Chinese, or it was a Chinese mirror. So this is going to be the first time where we're going to see him using Chinese here. However, we have seen him use this matchup in previous sets before, just the other way around. He was the HRE and his opponent was the Chinese.
Yes,
so
I
he's
think
got the knowledge of the matchup.
And that's exactly that's what I was about to point out. So he's going to have really good matchup knowledge. I think it's all just going to come down to execution. Now, obviously, DeMuslim has played a lot of Chinese. When I actually started watching DeMuslim's streams initially, when he was about rank 500, he was just playing the Chinese. So it is, it's great to see him out on the Chinese again. What's your prediction for this game, Litter?
I think I'm just going to go with the Muslim over here, simply because, as I said, he's very, very familiar with this matchup. So even though he mostly played the HRE versus the Chinese, not the other way around, he knows exactly what the weaknesses of Holy Roman Empire are when fighting against the Chinese. He's opened with a mill, as you would expect, and looking at the relics real quickly, I have to say that he considers himself very, very lucky having a relic on his hill. That's very, very rare on this map, and it definitely helps to make sure that it's a little more difficult for your opponent to get the free relics for the Ragni's Cathedral.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. I'm going to go with Vortex. I have talked about this matchup before, and I do think that it is very favored towards the Holy Roman Empire. But that's with a couple of conditions. I think that if you're playing Chinese, there's two ways to play it. The first one is you go very aggro in H2, and you look to control relics into the transition period. The second option is that you go for a big boy boom. And I'm talking big. I'm talking like 3 town center big, double dynasty, that sort of stuff. So DeMuslim already going to be starting out by jumping on stone. So we can see he's got 6 villagers out on stone already. He's going to be looking to get that second town center up quick smart, it seems. And yeah, quite a curious opening for him. Also got 2 villagers over on gold as well. So not sure exactly what he's going to be looking to do with that. Potentially put down the dynasty.
On the other side, Vortex is going to play professional scouts here. He already dropped his mill. He's going to do that with a stable. That's the pretty standard way of playing the Holy Roman Empire. You make your stable, you use that to make scouts, and you're going to be gathering all that hunt close to your Aachen chapels, so your food gathering is boosted. And after that, you play a fast castle, pop out 1 or 2 knights to control the map with them, secure the free relics for Ragni's Cathedral, and probably play fast Imperial into Palace of Swabia, because the only way that you can match that villager production from a 2 potentially Frey Town Center Song Dynasty play is by using the Palace of Swabia. So a fast Imperial is likely here for Vortex. Yeah,
that's a really good point. And this is part of the reason why I think that the Holy Roman Empire is so strong on this map in particular, is just because of that fast Imperial play. One of the things I'd like to note is, have a look at this Aachen Chapel. How beautiful is this position right here? Nice and close to the town center, covers the gold mine, almost covers the second gold mine as well, but not quite. And then gets, obviously, it's going to get probably the next 2 lumber camps as well. So he's going to be really, really happy with this position. He's going to be, his economy is going to be off chops, we would say in Australia.
Absolutely. So, looking at the Muslim, he actually went with the Barbican of the Sun in front of his base. Kind of needed here because his gold mines are quite exposed. You could technically justify going for the Imperial Palace right away, but you gotta be careful with that, because if you go for that, you are completely exposed to any kind of aggression. And with such exposed gold mines, you gotta be careful, especially after the previous game.
Yeah, that's a really good point. His gold mines are quite exposed. Yeah, you're on the money with that, but yeah, it does a pretty decent job of covering them. I'm curious as to what we're going to be seeing coming out of DeMuslim. Obviously, he is dropping that second town center down, but he has stopped mining gold, so probably going to be looking into... obviously, we saw earlier, I think it was in an earlier series that it was the 2 TC versus 3 TC. I suspect we're just going to be seeing 2 TC Dynasty into Fast Castle. So who knows exactly what we have, but Demuslim now going to be dropping down a stable himself, and I like this. If he can just get out maybe... Oh, did I just see professional scouts coming in for Demuslim? I did too.
It is a possibility. The Chinese can do that really fast. If he has a mill that is for professional scouts, indeed, he's got it. And the Chinese can get that really fast. You supervise the mill that accelerates your research, and you also go for the stable being supervised. You can actually get it out faster than the Holy Roman Empire player can. So technically, you could have the scout numbers advantage over here really fast, and you can just start yoinking the hunt from your opponent's side. You're already losing your one patch of huntables here to Vortex, but you could just go and take his side, so I don't think that you have to sweat this too much with the Chinese.
I feel like a pretty big mistake has been made here from Demuslim. He's gone for his second town center before professional scouts. So in my opinion, this is an objective error. I think that you should always go for professional scouts before the second town center. And the reason why is because you've lost your entire hunt. So we can see that he's going to be pulling back one deer with his scouts, and then going to be heading over to the other side of the map, as you mentioned. But take a look at the other side of the map. Vortex is already beginning to clean that up. He's got 4 scouts that are out here on top of that. And he's got a 5th scout that's running back in. So, you know, best case scenario, he might pick up 2, might pick up 3 of those deer out here. And so this is part of the reason why it's so important to go professional scouts before the second town center, because otherwise you're just investing in professional scouts, which is just going to result in you getting maybe 2 or 3 extra deer.
Absolutely. As you said, especially if your opponent is going for professional scouts, it's a race for huntables, and professional scouts is an expensive upgrade, so you really want to capitalize on it. Otherwise, you just wasted a bunch of gold that you had. Ragnis Cathedral already on the way for Vortex, though this build is looking really clean here, taking the hunt close to the Aachen Chapel. Same thing for the gold. Next step for him is popping out a couple of knights and going for those relics. And I feel like if he can secure 3 relics over here for Ragnis Cathedral and then go for that fast aim Palace of Swabia play, it's gonna be difficult for the Muslim to fight this one, simply because his opponent already seems to have a tiny bit of an eco advantage.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. And then from Demuslim's perspective, so I thought he was just gonna go for like a 2 TC Dynasty fast castle, but then also add in horsemen to try and deny relics. But it doesn't even, yeah, like he's got 1 horseman out on the field now, and the professional scouts have just delayed him significantly here, and obviously not really given him a lot of a reward. Like, in his base at the moment, the deer carcasses, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deer. That's it. So he's quite low on the numbers. Knight going to be coming out now, nullifying the early aggression from Demuslim, and he's going to have to fall back here. The prelate is going to be attacked, but it's not going to go down. The knight is going to be able to do plenty of damage, and also the screening going to be run here from the scouts, going to be able to protect that prelate.
Absolutely. The idea is nice from the Muslim. He wants to isolate that prelate, but it's pretty difficult to kill it only with scouts, and I already heard 1 relic being picked up, so the Muslim might be able to snipe 1 monk, but it just takes too much time for him to get to Castlage, get his own lancers out, and be guaranteed to finish this. And now with the monk carrying the relic, it could be a Vololo.
Yeah, it goes for the Wololo. Not going to be successful, but keep in mind that second prelate's going to be able to cover for the first one as well. So if this prelate does get under attack, he's just going to be able to move the second prelate in and do a bit more Wolololling if he needs to. But he's going to be able to get those 2 in, and then he's finally got that 3rd relic down towards the south of his base. And I got to say, Vortex is playing this incredibly well at this point in time. Flawless display from him. He's going to be finally cleaning up the hunt from his, or inside of his own base as well, and just bringing that back to the town center. And you can see all the villages just so nicely stacked here out on each of these. And I love the way that he's actually just dropping the hunts on the villages as well. Just going to help his gathering rate out so much more with that.
Absolutely, this is textbook execution of this Holy Roman Empire play. And if you look at those resources, just look at that resource bank skyrocket. He has gotten wheelbarrow as well, so his economy is really good with wheelbarrow, with Aachen Chapel, 2 relics in Ragnis Cathedral, and he's about to drop that Palace of Swabia. Where is he dropping it, though? Is he moving out of his base for that? Or just that stone mine?
Just coming for the stone mine, yeah. So keep in mind the Palace of Swabia, it is cheaper as well. So going to be able to click up extra fast with it. Demuslim now reaching the Castle Age, but yeah, as mentioned, his opponent is now going up to the Imperial Age, so there is definitely like a significant timing window. And this is what I was talking about, is that there's 2 ways, in my opinion, to play against this strategy with China. The first one is like a full Age 2, but you got to be aggro, and you have to be denying relics actively, but it can be very hard going up against the Knights. And then the second way is to wall up like Muslim has done, but you have to do a big boy boom. You cannot mess around, you cannot skimp on this, because you're going to be going up against the Palace of Swabia, which, you know, as you mentioned, it's one of the best landmarks in the game. And, you know, it really just creates so much power for Vortix, and he's now going to be picking up his third relic here.
It is, in fact, the fourth relic now. He has 3 relics back at home, and that's the fourth one coming out. A Lancer is pursuing that Prelate, but even if it gets killed, I don't think that the Muslim can prevent that relic from being brought back. Currently, it's 39 villagers versus 62, so the Muslim has a massive advantage in villager count, but that will soon change.
Yeah, Woolalol going to be unsuccessful here in the middle. Lancer does manage to take out that Prelate before the relic does get back towards the base, but he's already secured up those 3 in the Regnitz Cathedral. He's not fussed at all about having to delay that one coming in. It's only going to be 100 gold a minute, and that's only going to work out. He's going to have to drop a monastery for that one as well, probably. Gets a nice little screen in there on that Lancer. Prelate's still going to go down, though, unfortunately. And I think Muslim's probably pretty happy with himself that he's able to delay that relic from being picked up, but little does he know, 3 relics are already in this bad boy.
Absolutely. And the thing is that the Muslim is going to have to start setting up the farming eco, which is always a massive investment to go for. He's getting close to Imperial Age / Yuan Dynasty, depending on which he wants to go for. Probably should be Imperial Age first, and then whenever he can afford it, go for Yuan Dynasty. But at this point, his opponent is just going for the Villager Printer. If you look at the ecos right now, pretty much comparable resource income for the 2 players. I would dare say that Vortix is even leading, despite the fact that he only has 54 villas as opposed to 71.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. He's got double the gold income at the moment, 1,300 to 666. So it definitely looks like Muslim getting a bit of help from the devil there. But Muslim now going to be getting in those upgrades, specialized pick, horticulture coming in. We'll take a look at the other upgrades that he's got. No double broadaxe coming in yet. That's one of Viper's favorite upgrades. So we'll have to see whether he looks to land a hand there from the snake anytime soon. But now going to be dropping down a monastery at the front of Vortix's base. He's going to be looking to secure up that 4th relic. Not going to be able to get his hands on that 5th one, though, unfortunately. That relic is tucked nice and safely away behind the walls of his opponent.
Indeed, we already have barracks coming out here with men-at-arms on the way. Already in with the 200 weapons and the maces upgrade. No blacksmith upgrades just yet coming in, including the unique marching drills upgrade. So sometime still until Vortix can start popping out those men-at-arms with full upgrades. Also would be nice to see a university from him for the elite infantry tactics upgrade. Something that we're not seeing just yet.
Yeah, I'm curious to know exactly what kind of siege we're going to have coming out here. So if you weren't paying attention, there's 2 siege workshops now getting dropped down for Vortix in the base. I'm suspecting it's probably going to be bombards. I reckon he's just going to be knocking on the front door with the bombards. That's exactly what we are going to be seeing. So bombards going to be coming out. They've rallied towards the middle of the map. Beautiful composition already coming out here for Vortix as well. He's got those elite men-at-arms. He's got the knights out, and the bombard's going to be rounding out that composition very well. And it's going to be so hard for his opponent to actually deal with this, because Muslim isn't going to have much time to react to this. Once this bombard starts knocking on the door, it's going to be able to take out the Nest of Bees very easily. As I mentioned previously, ideally what you want to be doing is pulling villages with that bombard, just so that it can hold against any potential threat of, say, you know, villager pools or anything like that. It's able to sort of heal up through that. But Nest of Bees is going to be sitting out behind the walls. How are you feeling about this, Lidakor?
I'm feeling quite good, because the gold income here for Vortix is just very, very good. This is just so underappreciated. With 4 relics here, including 3 in the Regnitz Cathedral, that is 1,000 gold per minute passively. That's way better than what the Rus would get for their fast castle build. And you see the game is only at the 15-minute mark, so you see, you have an Imperial Age player with 1,000 passive gold per minute, a town center that's capable of producing villagers every 5 seconds for 12 food. And he's the one that's already securing the sacred sites, whereas if you look at the Muslim, he's got some Nest of Bees, but as you said, those can be sniped down by bombards very easily.
Yeah, and this is part of the reason, what I was saying earlier is, I don't know how to beat Holy Roman Empire that does this. I genuinely don't. I believe this is the perfect strategy against China. I'm not sure if you see that. There's a villager who was doing a bit of a curious walk around the edge of the cliff face. Did get taken down by some of those knights. But yeah, this is such a difficult build order to deal with as the Chinese, because you got to keep in mind the Chinese want to play the same game that the Holy Roman Empire do. They want to sort of sit back and they want to just build up their, they want to play the late game. And that's what the Holy Roman Empire wants to do. But at the same time, they just do it so much better than the Chinese does on maps like this, where they're able to get those access to those 3 relics. They're able to get out their professional scouts, and they're able to do it in an environment where they're going to be safe. So against the Rus, it's going to be difficult. Against the French, it's going to be difficult. The Mongols, the Mongols, it's going to be difficult. But against the Chinese, it's going to be perfectly fine.
Absolutely. And the thing is that, as you said, the Chinese and the HRE want to play something similar here. The difference is that the Holy Roman Empire can build up their numbers much easier. They can get to Imperial Age a little easier. So, thanks to that passive gold income, they have to invest less into their economy at the beginning, whereas the Chinese have to go all in on their eco. And now we're seeing Vortex push in, quite a lot of men-at-arms hitting the field, Bombards taking the Barbican of the Sun.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for these Nest of Bees to hold as the men-at-arms begin coming in. We see the villagers going to get pulled here as well, looking to try and screen now for the Nest of Bees. They're not going to have too much luck, unfortunately. They begin falling back, but the Nest of Bees not even firing off at this point in time. It looks like Vortex is just hanging out and just trying to wait for it to come in. Bombard's going to be doing their best to come up on the back line. They're going to be focusing down these Nest of Bees. Good luck to the villagers trying to heal through that one. Only 2 Nest of Bees remain at this point in time as the scouts actually take it down. And it looks like we've got GG being called. The Muslim surrendering, tapping out Vortex, victorious, and going to be taking a 3-2 lead in this series, Lidakor.
Very well played here by Vortex. He really used the civilization to the best of his capabilities. Textbook execution of that fast castle into relic collection. Very nice moves from him to collect not only 3 but 4 relics to work with. And then nice fast Imperial. And if you look at the villager count in the end, he actually caught up. Yeah. And if you look at the overall economies, Vortex actually has 1,000, actually it's not 1,000, just 300 more food, 500 more food, but 6,000 more gold. We are talking about a player that was behind in terms of villagers in every single moment of this game. That's the power of the HRE. You have a lower villager count, but you will be able to make up for it quite fast. And your passive gold income compensates for your lack of eco mid-game, so you have a very nice Imperial Age timing. Just for reference, his Imp timing was just a minute later than his opponent's Castle Age timing. So he's gonna have the best artillery available in the game very early. So he doesn't have to mess around with Trebuchets and Castle Age, he can just go Bombards right away. And he's gonna have all the Imperial Age upgrades in, and behind that, even though his villager count is very, very low, his passive resource income is huge. And he doesn't have to invest into expanding that economy at all, basically. The villagers are so cheap that he can spend pretty much all his food income on the men-at-arms.
Yeah, and speaking of men-at-arms, take a look at the military count right now for Vortex. Once he hits that Imperial Age, there's a couple of minutes there where he's got downtime, but he just hits a power spike and just goes through the roof. It is ludicrous how much military production he gets out there. But yeah, that's incredible stuff from him, and really I got to scratch my head, and I think the Muslim probably does as well. Head back to the drawing board for that one. The professional scouts definitely came in a little bit too late, unfortunately, but I'm sure he'll work that one out for the next game. Lidakor, it was a pleasure casting this game with you. I'll make sure I leave a link in the description over to your YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you go check out Lidakor, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.